Hello, board game family. My name is Brian, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing video for the CMON game Masters of the Universe Clash for Eternia. This was a region-locked game for US backers, unfortunately. That happened about a year ago. There was two games of Masters of the Universe. One was for Europe backers, one was for US backers. This one is the US backers version. And as a note, this is the first CMON title that I didn't back the all-in. I have been trying this new resisting the FOMO and also only getting product that I think I'm actually going to want to play, and that's what this is. But what I want to accomplish in this unboxing is I want to see the quality of the components, check out the quality of the minis. We'll have a close-up 4K camera for that so we can really get to see the detail in the minis, plus just kind of chit-chat and ramble a little bit with you guys. So here is the base game. We also have the stretch goals, and the only expansion I ended up picking up was SheRa. And this one I pretty much bought exclusively because I think my daughter would really appreciate these minis. And if we never play the game, I think she'll at least get some sort of joy from these incredible minis, at least from the renders. We'll find out how good they look in person. So with that, let's go ahead and unbox this game. Also, I really want to note that this art, the art on this, I am actually in love with the art to the point that this game might find its way into my studio wall, which will be unfortunate because that means something's gonna have to go. Whenever you say yes to something, you have to say no to something else. That is the give and take of the world. But I very, very much love the art. It's got some nice spot UV treatment here. Very, very impressed. And this game is a skirmish game from, I think, 2 to 5 players, if I remember right. And this is an interesting one. This is one that I wasn't sure I wanted to back. When this came out, I did a should you back on this. In fact, I was very, very impressed with my video. I love my video that I did for this one. And my thumbnail. I remember the thumbnail was something I was very, very proud of. You wouldn't think about that with content creators being proud of something simple as a thumbnail, but it takes a lot of time. Sometimes as long as it is for me to edit a video, I could be spending on making a thumbnail for a video. So when you have a thumbnail that comes out the way you want it, it's very, very nice. So I'm going to go ahead and bring over my close-up camera just to get it prepped and recording, because I suspect we're going to need it sometime soon. So right off the bat, we've got 2 books. The first one is the rule book. The second one is the scenario book. The first thing we always want to check on is in the back, see if they have any glossary of terms or something, which they actually do. They have a full glossary here. I'll see if I can show that here. It's probably not the best way to show it. But it shows basically key terms, and this is super important. I always think it's very, very important. If you have terms like action or sleep or round, what does that specifically mean in the terms of your gameplay? Because there can be always weird niche situations that can arise, and having a definitive, this is what that means, is very, very important. So the setup is good. I remember from people who play tested this game, that the setup was actually very, very easy. So I'm hoping this, not just the setup, like the rules, learning how to play the game. Rulebook's pretty nice, not a high quality material, but it is pretty good feeling. And then we have our scenarios. So here we can open it up, and it's got, looks like just names, and it says what you're going to be playing against. So for example, we have Rescue, which will be evil warriors and AI. So that'll be set size. Scenarios with an emphasis on a narrative and story-driven elements. They list the specific faction that must be played by the controller. So in Rescue, you can't see it because my camera positioning here was just awful. Let's just mod this up a little bit. That way we can see. So up here we have Rescue. And we have AI, which means it says scenarios specifically made to be utilized by players versus AI mode, though they can be played as a set-aside scenario as well as with a human controller. So you can kind of get an idea. We have open sides versus AI. This is just open. So very interesting. They basically break down what to look for in terms of each scenario. And then it probably has some sort of setup in terms of, yeah, what the map will look like. So there we go. Pretty good there. I was really debating on if I wanted the upper camera going for this or just rely on my front camera and the secondary camera. There might be a reason. If this goes live and I don't have an upper camera, now you know why. It's because I didn't see the value in it for it on my unboxing, which is something I've been very much like thinking about a lot lately. Is there a value with having the upper camera all the time when I could do my close-up shot? So this is the board. It's kind of got a velvety feel to it, like a matted feel to it. Standard board. It is one-sided. Nothing too crazy about it, but the art's pretty cool. You got some nice little vibrant colors. The matted feel, you probably can't hear that, but it's very got a textured feel to it, which is interesting. Folds up pretty nicely. And, oh, I've got too much stuff in front of me. I don't want to knock my camera, but in the way I am knocking it. And hopefully we don't see any kind of warping. It has a little bit of lift here, but not too bad. But again, I don't know if this is just standard warping or if it's something to be aware of, if I need to have silica packets inside my box. Warping of your cardboard materials is always bad. So here we just have some standard tokens of all the different characters. I love that they have this one up here. That's awesome. Yeah, so these are all the different characters in the game. And then we have the board. Now this is the board that basically outlines the turn order of how the game goes. You have controller, player, controller, player. You're going to have cards here, and as you activate, you'll reveal a card. I believe it'll be like the character that you're going to be activating, and it'll go down the list. And this game has a escalating scenario situations where the more rounds you go, the longer the game goes, the more powerful you become as your players. You get more powers, you get abilities, which I love powers and abilities. Anytime I can do something with those, it's always great. So here we have some more punch. What I love about this is they actually have it inside a sleeve to keep it away from any type of moisture, which is great. I'm not going to open this. This is all terrain. If I remember right, they had some sort of 3D terrain. I don't remember all the stretch goals, so there's a possibility there could be 3D terrain in here. And then we have the Kickstarter exclusive player boards. You know, what's interesting about this one, one of the main reasons I also backed this one is I went in for $1. I'm a big proponent of backing at $1. I think if you have the opportunity to back at $1, you should almost always, although it doesn't help the campaign reach stretch goals, which with a CMON title, you do want to reach stretch goals because it does add more value to your game. Although I do know that CMON has algorithms based on backer level, you know, to space those levels in reachable areas, but also generate as much money for CMON as possible. They definitely have a lot of algorithm work with that. But here we have our different player boards. This is interesting. I'm not quite sure what this is. It feels like it feels like there should be more to this plastic piece. Because it has like these lips up here, like it should connect almost into something, but that could be just me. Like even here on the sides, it looks like there could be something that clicks into here. I'll kind of show that on my close-up camera. To me, it would give me the impression that something clicks into here or over here and even up here. But this could be up like cards might slide up on top. So those are some player boards. So anyways, back to what I was talking about. I backed this at $1, and when you went to the pledge manager, they were basically saying, due to licensing issues, this game most likely will not be a retail game. And so I had mixed feelings on backing it, but with the idea that there's a potential that this game might not come to retail at all. One, I think it's a safe investment. You know, and I hate using the term investment, but it's a safe buy. I can always sell this game for what I paid for it if I have to. But two, there is a possibility that it could be worth more later. So if I wanted to hold on to it, I had the opportunity to do so. So here we have some of the minis. This is specifically why we have the close-up camera. These are the core set, guys. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at He-Man himself, because that's what we're all here for. First, I'm going to look at myself, and then we'll do a quick rundown. It looks okay to me. I'm looking for any kind of imperfections, anything that might be weird. His face is the only thing that doesn't look great. So let's go ahead and do our 4K close-up shot. You guys can see this. So you can see there, you can see a little bit of a seam work here. It's not too bad. Let me show you his face. His face is the only thing that's a little maybe interesting. It's not too bad. But overall, this mini is pretty nice. It's a hard plastic, so you're not getting a lot of movement. Pretty solid overall. Very impressed. Let's go and look at this guy. Wow, look how cool they look. Got the muscles. Look at those freaking ripped biceps and triceps. Wow, looking good. Love the staff. Great detailing, and I'm really impressed. CMON has come a real long way with their mini. I mean, they've always had good minis, but I feel like since Ankh, their minis have just been incredible. Here's the classic "I have the power" pose. There you go. I have the power. Psst. Yeah, I'm a nerd, but it's okay. That's why we're all. If you're watching this, you're also a nerd, and that's okay. Here's this guy. That's how I grew up in the 80s. I'm a late or early 80s. I don't know how you want to consider that. Early 80s baby. So I grew up with a lot of 80s stuff, but He-Man was a little early for me. It was also early 80s. So I grew up with like Transformers, some G.I. Joes, but I still really appreciate the 80s pop culture and the Saturday morning cartoon lifestyle, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was more 90s. But yeah, like this is stuff I grew up with, which is one of the reasons I was interested in it, but I also didn't have a full nostalgic breakdown because this was a little earlier than my time. This is more for like 70s babies, is He-Man style stuff. But yeah, definitely still. This head looks like there could be some risk of popping off there, but overall looking pretty good. Let's get some more of these other bad guys. Here's this guy. You could have a great time here painting some of these guys. You got some really good texture. You could do a lot with a wash here if you put a nice little coat on him. Do like a light brown and dark browns, and then maybe do a coat. Of course, now there's probably reference photos you could also go off of if you wanted to paint. Good club. The club's really cool. Good textures on there. Yeah, very impressed. You have these little robot guys. Again, I don't want to pretend like I'm an expert He-Man, Masters of the Universe, actually. Savant or whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know what I'm saying. I enjoyed the nostalgic bit, but I'm not totally into, like, I don't know all of this stuff. And I know there's a show on Netflix that kind of look at those abs. Like that. What is going on there? Is that just part of his clothing? I mean, you can actually see, it looks like it's part of his clothing because you can see the details that he has. Yeah, that's so cool. That is very impressive modeling and details. Like this is very impressive. And a good wash would really show those definitions there in his back muscles. Wow, really impressed here. Let's show this girl. Look at her. I love her hand pose. The finger actually looks really good for, her little hand sticking out there. Seeing if that's just dust or what's on her. Cool. So we saw some of these. We also have some of these black player bases here. Not sure what they'll go to, but let's go ahead and put these back. might have put them on the wrong side. Yeah, I did. Okay. One of the other things I'm curious about is I bought a 3D printer, and I've been really interested in, I've been doing a lot of inserts lately for my games. And so I'm always curious how well their insert will be and if I'm going to have to print one of my own. So we have some cool dice. I like that they are the color. Black and gold is such a cool color to me. I love the look. Should have made my logo black and gold. That would have been really sweet. My brand. We have a deck of cards. We're not going to open those. I tried, and then we have a well here. So we can kind of look at this insert a little closer. So you can get a better idea of what we're looking at for the plastic insert. You've got a well here for tokens and whatnot, and then these cards will sit up here. I might have to see if I have any sleeved stuff that can fit that. So let's push that over, and let's take a look at the stretch goal box, because I'm pretty sure this has terrain and a bunch of different stuff. And we'll just nerd out looking at all of the minis again with the close-up camera. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna need my upper camera. I don't think I need it. And the reason why I don't want it is when you're filming in 4K like my videos are, the more 4K camera angles I introduce into a file for editing, it just becomes like such a headache. Such a headache to edit. So this has its own scenario book, the Box of Power scenario book. It doesn't have it broken down to with a index or whatever in the front, which kind of stinks, but you have He-Man everywhere. It's got the controller being the heroic warriors. Skeletor everywhere. Evil warriors will be played by the controller. So yeah, you've got some more scenarios you can play with, which is cool. Nice. Yeah, that's always more stuff to play with. And the scenarios, also more tokens, more cardboard tokens for different characters. Really good color. They have such good color saturation here. Really get to see the pop of different types of color. I was going to say, what I was going to mention. The scenarios are very akin to like when I was playing Ankh. They also have scenarios, so I'm already kind of used to that kind of setup. Here we have all of the different cards for all the stretch goals. So you have AI character. This is Fangor. I don't want to open this up, but just give you an example of what that would look like. Here's a backside, Extendar. Some of these people, I remember when I was looking at the stretch goals when they were announcing the people, I was like, God, what stupid names. Like the 80s had really stupid names for their characters. Here we have a little box, plastic token boxes. There are 2 of those. And let's see what's underneath. So the stretch goal boxes here. So it looks like there's probably going to be multiple trays. I'm talking so fast that I'm like losing track of what I want to talk about because it's like squirrel, like, oh, what's that? What's something new to talk about? And so I kind of forget a point I might have been trying to cover earlier, so I apologize if I have sidetracked and forgot something I was going to talk about. So here we have some of those terrain items. We're not going to spend too much time looking at the terrain. This is just a standard boulder. I like that it's gray, so if you didn't want to paint, it's like kind of blue-gray. If you didn't want to paint, you wouldn't have to. There's a bunch of these swords in the stone. I'm not sure why you'd want multiple swords in the stone. I'm not sure why. Here's those mini He-Mans. I remember this was one of the stretch goals. Just a bunch of the mini He-Mans. Pretty small, about the size of just the tip of my finger for reference. I'm also a big guy, so that might not help you understanding size references. And it also stinks that they're like flesh colored. It's hard to get an actual thing, but there's a few different poses for those mini guys, the mini He-Man. Okay, and then we have the same thing for Skeletor. This one looks better, but it's also gray, so it's easier for the camera to pick it up and be like, this is what we're looking at. And here's another pose for him. They are labeled on the bottom. Okay, what do we got here? Anything interesting? Remember this guy? This was actually one of the first stretch goals was unlocked when I backed him. When I backed the game, he was like the most recent unlock. Like that matters, but just sharing. Here's another guy. We got a little bit of warpage here on his staff. So we'll have to put this in hot water and try to reshape this, which is usually not an issue. And I usually forget to do it because I just put it back in the box and forget to ever touch it. Ooh, check this guy out. This is cool. Look at that. I'm also filming this on my new board game table. I haven't actually done any content on my table since I've gotten it, but you might have noticed we've got the felt cloth back out, which is good because it gives a good filming depth, but I haven't had a felt cloth in quite a while. But I'm hoping to have a video shortly on my board game table, give you guys an impression of it, and let you know what I think. And then I'll have another table coming hopefully soon from Rathskellers that I backed. I backed that on GameFound. And just trying to find, I've been chasing like, not the perfect table, but like a very good table. I like this horse. My daughter will love this. A little nervous of the contact points here to give it to her, because I could easily see this broken off. I mean, you could already kind of see it doesn't look the most attached. And there's, you know, you got 3 contact points. But she would love something like that. Here's this guy with no rider, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. God, these would be so fun to paint because you get to play with actual colors. That's the thing with 80s is the colors were very vibrant, and a lot of times you paint with muted colors, so you don't get to really use bright things because it makes things look weird. But like games like Townfolk Tussle or this can allow you to have fun with color. So check out this plant. This is part of those 3D terrain items. This is great. I would love to be able to get this all into one box. I don't think I would be able to. Let's take a look at one more guy. So you can kind of see, I mean, the minis look really good. We're not going to spend that much more time on the minis, but there you go. So that's the stretch goal box. I put this guy in wrong. Okay, stretch goal box looks good, and they actually show you. So for the top tray, I've got the terrain. Bottom tray will be these guys. I did this wrong, so I'm not going to put a bowl back in right now. Let's just knock over my camera while I'm at it. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to look at was the SheRa expansion. So why did I not back everything? Why did I only get one expansion? First off, expansions from these CMON Kickstarters are usually not very good value in terms of like the core box for $100, you get a lot of stuff. But for $50, I'm just getting what's in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10 potentially. But these are, well, I guess it says 8. But like 9 unique characters. So the value is very much lost. And a lot of times I back these CMON games, get all the extras, get all the stuff, and then I don't touch the expansions nearly as much. So SheRa adds another faction that you can play with, so I thought that was a good value. Plus, it's something my daughter, I think, would really, really appreciate. So that's why I decided to go in on this one alone. I did not go in on the all-in, the skull, the Castle Gray skull. It was like for a single scenario, but yes, I mean, it was a giant toy. It added the toy factor, but I was like, I don't think I really want to store that thing. It just seems really miserable to figure out a way to store that. And if I can, I would like to just have stuff that's truly going to be gameplay that I would actually play. So that's why with this game, I did the first time just getting a core and an expansion that I wanted. So, and I don't feel bad about it. I'm actually more excited. Like, sometimes you'll get games and you almost feel like a sense of dread because you're like, oh man, look how much stuff I have to store. But this doesn't give me, gosh, come on, all this tape. This doesn't give me that feeling. Oh, I broke the plastic. Well, that sucks. I'm trying to be too quick. Okay, so first off, we'll show the Pegasus. That my daughter is going to love. Just really great sculpture work. Flowing hair in the back. We can definitely paint that up. Got some good texture with the different types of wing sets and the volume there. Really, and I love the unicorn here. She'll love this. And then what do we got here? Just cool characters. Here's a little fairy. Yep. And here we go. This looks like my daughter. Just looks like she's ready to, you know, mess something up, break something, as always. Yeah, so that's the SheRa characters. Here we have those cards that we can play with. I would love to be able to, hey, you can see me in the camera. I'd love to be able to get some sleeves for this stuff. I might have some compatible sleeves in my storage. And Swiftwind, SheRa on Swiftwind. And we also have some tokens set for this. And I'm curious what these tokens are. This is cute to see. Look at all the different characters. God, these are cool. I'm curious what the tokens are for. Are they like alternate, like you can use these, and then we have just these normal playing card size cards. So this is a minion. And then terrain on the back. This is small. We can open this up to get an idea what some of these smaller cards might look like. It's not going to be a pain putting this back. So this says terrain. Here we have an ice wall. But see, the ice wall, I just have the token. So I don't think we're going to have we have these tokens that represent the ice wall. I don't think there's a mini for that within the stretch goals. So that stuff like that sucks. Like, you have minis for some things, but not all the things. Then we have an NPC that you can talk to. Qual, supportive. Every time Qual activates, one ally within 4 spaces heals 1. Just have a good little linen finish. And then the minion, which we've already seen. The Bright Moon Archer, which I think are these guys, if I had to guess. The size differences between the minions, they look to me, maybe the bases. Are the bases the same? No, bases are same. So the minions and the heroes have the same size platform. So there you go. That's interesting to know. So that's it. That is the SheRa expansion, which I'm losing everything for right now. Go like that. So that's the SheRa. That is Masters of the Universe, the board game unboxing video. I hope this was of value to you as I rambled and kind of talked about the game, but mostly wanted to show you guys the components, the minis, the quality, using the 4K up close camera. That way you guys can make a decision if this is a game you want to find. If you haven't backed it, you're probably going to have to find it on the secondary market, because unfortunately, based on what I remember reading in the Pledge Manager, this one might not be coming to retail, which is an unfortunate thing. And I suspect that's because of licensing agreements. The fact that they already had to do the Europe and US types of games, and they had to be completely different types of systems, already kind of was indicative that there was licensing things going on as it is. And CMON might not have been able to maintain the license for a retail pledge. So this actually stores really nicely in here. I will give them that. They did pretty good here with the storage inside this little SheRa box. So, all right, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you want to support the channel, remember to give a like for the YouTube algorithm. Please check out the Discord and the Patreon if you'd like to support the channel in any way. I greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.